Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about solutions. And there are two main types of solutions. Homogeneous, where everything is evenly mixed, and a heterogeneous mixture, where everything is unevenly mixed. And these two mixtures are determined by their intermolecular forces. So for a homogeneous, both substances have similar intermolecular forces. Now, for example, air. Air contains nitrogen, oxygen, etc., and they all have similar intermolecular forces, which is why it's a homogeneous mixture. In our second example, we have ion plus dipole and dipole. So let's say we have oxygen, water, H and H. So these are partially positive, and this is partially negative, as we learned from electronegativity. And this oxygen is partially negative oxygen is going to bond with an Na positive, and this is going to bond with a Cl negative. Now both ions are attached to the dipoles, and we call this an ion dipole. This will also create a homogeneous mixture because the partially positive charged hydrogen because the positively charged hydrogen bonds with the negatively charged Cl anion, and the partially negative charged oxygen bonds with the positively charged Na cation. And our second type is heterogeneous. And this is just the opposite. Both substances have different intermolecular forces. And for example, we have oil and water. One is polar, one is nonpolar, and they have different intermolecular forces, which is why it's heterogeneous. Now, some vocabulary is that first we have colloid, and that is a type of heterogeneous mixture and display the Tyndall effect. And that is the scattering lights. Now an example of that would be fog will be fog. So when you turn on lights, and that is when you turn on lights in foggy weather, when you turn on the highlights in foggy weather, the fog scatters the light everywhere, and which makes you unable to see in the fog, and that is an example of colloid. Now our second vocabulary is suspension. And this is also a type of heterogeneous mixture that has large particles suspended in a substance that will eventually settle out. And an example of this would be muddy water, where the mud will eventually settle out after you place it in there long enough. And another example is when you see something that says shake well before using. And if you don't, there will be different sized particles which will cause the solution to be uneven. And that is why it tells you to shake well before using. And that is our differences between a homogeneous mixture and a heterogeneous mixture. Thank you for watching.